back to part 6 of this deep dive presentation about the computer animation course at the University of South Wales. Now, what we normally do at the end of our open days on campus is, at the end of the session, take all the visitors around for a tour of the floor, a tour of the facilities, particularly this floor that has all the animation and VFX courses housed within it. So I'm on floor 3 here. What I'm going to do is a little online version of that with this iPad I'm filming this with. So I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to show you all the cool stuff that we have on this floor. So to start things off, in this corridor that we're walking down to the studios, we have some beginnings of what becomes a bit of a theme across this corridor. There's these cool movie posters and games posters of shows that our alumni have worked on in recent years and over the years. So you can see alumni there with dates going back quite some time. Stephen Endicott there from 22 years ago, we're talking about now, graduated, was animation supervisor on The Lion King. Yes, some really big titles. These are shared between animation and VFX. Here's Dark Materials, a whole gang of students working on that in Cardiff that you'll see we've talked about in the other parts of the presentation. Avengers Infinity War, had a whole team of students from computer animation and VFX on that. This is Chuck Steele Night of the Trampires. That's a big local production by Animodel Studios. That whole team of stop motion students, and I can see some CG students in there and some VFX students. So a whole team of alumni working on these projects. The Snowman, we had a whole 2D team on. This is teams of students working at Blue Zoo on a bunch of cool kids TV shows. Paddington there in production at the moment. Really healthy team there at Blue Zoo in London. And a really cool one you'll see me talking about in the other parts of the presentation is our kind of rockstar poster for Grand Theft 5 and Red Dead 2. Alright, so let's take you through this door, which will take you onto the studios floor. And this first one we're going to is our third year studio. No students in at the minute because term has ended. So in here we have kind of, I think about 33 seats. Lovely big projector screen, 4K projector. So this is where we do all third year lectures, workshops and demos, software demos, that kind of stuff. This is the staff PC. And you see, if you could look at the specs on the open day presentation, all these PCs are nice high specs. We also have some 21-inch Cintiqs here for people who want to use drawing straight into those tablets, drawing straight on the screen effectively. So there's 4 of those, and also there's about 10 of these 13-inch. So particularly CG artists more than animators like working with those. So lots of space for students. We keep this room kind of priority to third years. Yeah, first and second years share a studio. Also you can see on the walls, that's kind of showing off some recent cool student work. Yeah, some of our kind of first quality students there over the last couple of years. Been taking their work and kind of celebrating that to inspire current third years with what some recent third years achieved while they were with us on the course. Alright, so nice little space, usually full of students, usually lots of activity in here, but as you can see from all the kind of safety things around the place, we're still in the throes of pandemic-y stuff, but we're still operating and keeping very safe. The students at the minute, this is after term time, so they're all enjoying the nice sunny weather outside at the moment. Okay, and let's go through to the next studio. This is also the googly eyes room. We don't know who stuck those on the door about 5 years back. I have some guesses, but we've never took them down because we thought they were funny. Also, more of these film posters where some of our alumni went to work on. So Suvi Yokanimi there working for ILM on Solo. All right, so let's take you around to first and second year studio, which is just through the way here. Okay, and here's some more of our cool movie posters. So this is Joe Lewis, who worked on as an animator on Paddington 2. Max Tyree, who was animator on the first 3 CG Spider-Man films for Sony Imageworks. Actually moved up to animation director, supervisor, or animation lead, we're saying there. Quite a senior position there. And Chris Robin, here Joe Lewis again, and Beth Warner working on that more recently. And now let's go take you into CA303. This is our first and second year studio. Right, so you see a similar kind of layout in this room. We don't have a central insular table in here. We have more PCs. We have a kind of a seating area. Again, no students here because it's end of term. So students can there's a little bit of sort of chill out area there. This is a space for students to kind of sit away from computers, perhaps be working on laptops. We have power cables in that trunking there to plug stuff in. And all down here you can see the same spec, the same really nice high spec of PC. In this room, standard size monitors, still pretty wide. And you'll have noticed in the third year room, there's kind of extra wide monitors in there. Same nice big 4K projector screen, same teaching table at the front there. Lovely 4K, really super powerful projector. And again, that idea of celebrating the student work and inspiring current students by them kind of being presented on a daily basis with cool student work from years before. Right, something we're very keen on. Also, we use these to sometimes talk to students about projects. Yeah, so this is, for instance, our four-legged creature project in year one. We're not showing any animation content in that, as you can imagine, but we're showing little snippets here of kind of design process, or in this case like research, drawing from research, through to modeling, texturing, rigging. So we do a kind of a simple off-the-shelf kind of rigging thing in year one with that, and then into animation. All right, also highlighting things for students like importance of drawing. So some really nice thumbnails here that Charlotte Mosey did some years back. And again, more cool film projects and animation projects and art projects. A little kind of slightly more mixed media project here from a few years back. And then if you've watched the other videos, you'll have seen me talking about the game project at one point. So there's a really nice example of that from a few years back by Sergi Carrion. And also the VFX kind of insect multi-legged creature project. So you can see some really nice examples of stills from that process by actually 3 students who kind of collaborated together on that, Emma, Hannah, and Jakob. Okay, so this room, the other room is kind of slightly more internal, has windows, but onto the internal kind of atrium space. This room we have a bit of an external view of this city. What's perhaps interesting there is you can actually see, I'm going to walk you down there in a bit actually, but we can actually see down to the main kind of shopping street area of Cardiff. We can see that tower behind is the Civic Centre. All the kind of historical buildings out that way. This is actually a massive piece of student accommodation. I forget the name of that one, but I can look that up and add that to the description. Right, so a very short distance away. Also a very short distance away, walking distance. You can see there, Queen Street Station. Yeah, so you can get a train there very easily, walk along under this bridge, and straight into uni. Right, so very well placed there. Okay, now let's take you through to a very exciting room that we have between these 2 rooms that we use a lot, which is our mocap suite. Okay, so this is our motion capture studio, as you can see, right next door to our first year studio. Actually, through this other door, through the wall across the way there, is the third year room. So it's nestled exactly between our 2 rooms. And we have a lovely 18 camera Vicon setup. So Vicon being the market leader for a fixed camera system. We spent about £50,000 on this system a few years back, and we got Vicon in, and we said to them, you know, how many cameras would fit in this space? They said, oh, about 12, but then if you go higher than that, you'll have a better quality of capture. So we went as high as we could, So we get a really high quality capture because we have lots of cameras. You can see here's the desk that drives the mocap suite. And we can see here some students have filmed some stuff. We've got 3 actors in suits at the same time here on a capture, you know, and that's the quality of capture there. You can see with very few errors, very few glitches. It's because we have so many cameras. Yeah, so there's a lack of what's called occlusion. Yeah, there's a lack of cameras getting blocked, markers getting blocked by other actors. Yeah, so we get a really high quality of capture. Also, students use this room for kind of acting stuff out. So there's a MyBridge kind of wall. Member staff set up there. There's a running machine here. So it's kind of like a mocap and kind of acting room, you know, filming reference for animation or capturing mocap, any of that kind of stuff. Really, really cool facility. We're really lucky to have it. As well as this, actually we have an off-site solution as well. So as well as this fixed camera one, we also have an Xsense setup that we can take off-site. If we come back through here, and as we'll see from here, we're now back. We've gone in a complete circle back to the solo poster and the googly eyes in the third year room. So that mocap suite directly between the first, second year room and the third year room. Down this corridor and the rest of the corridor, it's kind of animation, graphics, illustration, and VFX. We can see here we've got more cool movie posters, TV show, kids TV show posters with alumni that have worked on those. Our local company, Cloth Cat, made the show Shane the Chef a couple of years back, and a whole huge team of alumni who worked on that CG animation show. Also, what's interesting down this corridor is this room is myself and my closest colleagues, Phil and Nick's office. So we're just a few steps away from where students are producing the work. So we often get students popping in to chat and ask us stuff. More cool posters of things students have worked on, this time from Rare, where there's a healthy team of former alumni working on projects there. As through the looking glass that Kezi Bailey and Max Tyree worked on a few years back. And then other rooms that we have on this floor are things like MA animation. So a smaller room tends to have a smaller kind of cohort of students, a bit of a mix between 2D and CG as well. There's also stop motion facilities on this floor, so you can specialise in any of those on the MA. More cool movie posters, Fantastic Beasts. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Lots of alumni working on all these cool things. Ant-Man. Steve Endicott was animation supervisor on that. And then down this corridor round, we're getting towards the VFX area. Just before that, in here is illustration. It's become quite an expanding course at the university, so quite a large space in here with the Apple Macs and Cintiqs. Also now, because we're getting to the VFX part of the floor, these tend to be more students who worked on VFX projects from the VFX course. Jungle Book though is a kind of a combination of students from computer animation and visual effects. I've done that. Dark Crystal, students from the VFX course, and The Revenant. And over there we have Spectre that VFX students worked on. Thor Ragnarok is a combination of both. Yeah, Ryan Bedwell and Rodri Matthews from the computer animation course, and then students from the VFX course as well. Avengers Endgame is a similar situation, Beth Warner from computer animation, and a bunch of students from VFX. Chernobyl had a bunch of VFX students on there. Wonder Woman is a combination of computer animation and VFX students. And then just on this part of the corridor, we have, well, kind of individual toilet blocks, which is just quite nice to be aware of. So kind of non-gender specific individual toilet cubicles in this section. Lovely sunny day here today in Cardiff. And also just walking through here, we don't go down this end of the corridor that much. This tends to be more kind of graphic design type courses, but in between these two kind of blocks, there's this nice kind of communal seating area that students can come and sort of drop into, little sort of work area. You've got kind of charger points and USB points for phones and stuff, and these little kind of pod chairs. So students can have little collaboration meetings perhaps, or just chill out chatting with friends around here. Sometimes people are having lunch and stuff around here. Also these screens, you can essentially kind of come into this area with a group of students and you can screen work, perhaps talk about group projects you're working on, that kind of stuff. And then as you can see, the kind of feel of this end of things then is design and graphics and that kind of stuff, which all goes all the way down that corridor. Okay, so let's take you back up to the VFX area. So here we are back in what we think of the VFX end of the corridor. Again, nice little seating area there. Little banner we take to conferences with us. This is the VFX staff office. There's some very swanky lighting and stuff in there, the VFX guys, really nice. Much nicer setup than our office. We need to do a bit of a job on sorting ours out. And in here, because we're at the VFX end of the corridor, like at our end of the corridor, we have a mocap suite. At the VFX end, something they use more than we do. We use mocap, these guys use green screen. So a nice little individual green screen studio. This isn't the only one on campus. There's another much larger one and another smaller one elsewhere in the building as well. This is kind of like bespoke to, I would say, VFX students in particular, and also with access to computer animation students as well. On our corridor, so we're the ones amongst these kind of subjects that will tend to book this out and use this more so. So again, a really nice facility. It's got an infinity scoop around the back there, so there's no kind of horizon line. Yeah, one of those endless things where you can shoot at something from different angles, fake different angles, lie someone down there and pretend you're shooting the sky, all that kind of stuff. Lots of cool lights in here, lots of cameras you can hire out in the facility generally. Again, a really cool thing to have in the building. And then also around here, we have a 2D course as well, 2D and stop motion. So we can see some evidence there of stuff students from that course have worked on. And visual effects students on this one. Visual effects students again on Doctor Who. Visual effects students again on The Machine. Yeah, so loads of, again, of really cool projects students have worked on over the years from all these courses. And this room in here is one of the VFX course teaching spaces. Similar kind of setups in all these rooms. These guys are on Apple Macs again, rather than PCs. And lots of other amazing tales of things students have worked on. So Matt Jones there, who's a storyboard artist, who's done a bunch of things at Pixar. 2D students working on Mr. Bean series. Stop motion students working on Farmageddon. It's actually a much bigger list than the one underneath, so I won't go and show that. And then in here, we have the second VFX studio. And other guys in here are marking. So we just kind of peek through the door there. And there's Jack, Tom, and Geraint, who are marking work at the moment in the VFX course. Now we're coming to the kind of stop motion area of the corridor. So we have a student there, Sean Gregory, who worked on Missing Link. Going on a bear hunt. Bunch of students working on that. And here we have currently of 2D students working on Lubao Bay, which again was a series done by Clothcat in Cardiff. Yeah, just see the huge number of alumni working on these shows. In here, we have the stop motion filming room. So again, not an area as a computer animation student you would spend a lot of time, but this is just around the corner from our studios. So really cool to know that these kind of activities are around us. Students have all those opportunities to collaborate with students from all these different areas. You know, at the end of the day, if you're going towards animation, that's kind of a key language that you have. And there's all kinds of possibilities to collaborate between these students. Lots of stuff now is happening in stop motion in the university and in the industry generally, where there's films made in stop motion are a blend of CG and stop mo these days, set extensions, even kind of CG animated characters as crowd scene characters, and in some cases main characters. Yeah, so lots of collab possibilities with that stuff. And then we're getting back down our end of the studio. Cuba and the 2 strings there. Sean Gregory again working on that. A really big team we have here because we're getting back towards computer animation from TT Games with so many titles that our former students have worked on in the past. You can see a really huge list there, almost too much to get on the poster. Really cool stuff. And then again, because we're between stop motion and computer animation, we have Early Man here. It's a bit of a blend of both actually. So I know there's some students in this list from computer animation. Yeah, CG artist, CG animator we can see there. And there's obviously a bunch of students there from the stop motion course. And then we're back. We did a complete circuit. We're back to where we came in. So what we're going to do now is just take you to some other interesting parts of the faculty. So now we're on floor 1. Previously we were on floor 3. And this floor I think of as the games floor. So when students are busily working in here, we can see their gamesy posters. That's one of the game studios. Again, more posters in here of companies students from the games courses have gone on to work at, and examples of student work and all that cool stuff. So we're 2 floors down, yeah? So on the floor we're on, we have animation and visual effects and graphics and illustration, all that kind of stuff. And on this floor, 2 floors down, you have all the game students, right? So really easy again for students to collaborate with each other, really in isolation there, and the alumni working on. Yeah, really easy for students to kind of tap into students from these courses if they want to work on games projects. And here we have the games staff office. Yeah, that we spend a lot of time talking to about collaborative work. Okay, I'll take you to another interesting part of the faculty as well. Okay, so here we have the main reception area of the Faculty of Creative Industries. See a nice kind of sitting around, chilling out areas here, main sort of reception security desk, and student cafe. Also down this corridor there's a larger cafeteria called Mingle at the bottom end there, and above that as well there's Students' Union Bar. Okay, so it's a cool little building. You can see there's an amazing spiral staircase on it there. And other things I want to show you is the library facilities and that kind of stuff. So in here normally we're going on the way into the Learning Resource Centre, not the library. Also in here, usually in a non-COVID year, this would be full of kind of student admin, student support staff. Then we come into the really well-stocked library. Hi mate. The front desk there, you can see this is student advice zone. So you have all the student advice support staff directly on the ground floor behind the advice zone. So any issues students have about anything, pretty much, they can come in and get a kind of an answer about anything academic or extenuating circumstances or student money. You know, they can link up for conversations about that at that desk. So a library is very cool. This got revamped a few years back. There's lots of these in a normal year. Again, little kind of seating spaces. There are these. Again, these idea of these little pods that students can book into. Not sure how well we're able to see those. I'll try the other side of that. Little kind of seating chair areas, but also these pods. Let's get a shot of that. It's kind of like learning pods, right? So students can book these little square, individual, closed off little glass pod rooms. Again, for conversations about working on team projects and all that kind of stuff. And then down here you'll see the normal. There's another one of these little pods. That's kind of oval shaped one. Yeah, so all that stuff's bookable to students. You'll find we have books here from every part of art. You can see I'm in an art section here. There's a whole animation section, there's a whole CG section, there's a photography section. And at the moment, as you'd imagine in COVID times, this is all running in a kind of remote booking system, a manless kind of booking system, where you come and select the book online, pick that book up, and drop it back without, you know, necessarily having any human contact. There are also then these little quiet study zones. So I pop down here sometimes if my office is a little too busy and I need to get something done really quick. I sometimes pop down and hide in a room like that. Yeah, so lots of little spaces you can use in this facility.
Visual tour, is it?
Yeah, you got it. This is the speeded up bit, so they won't hear you. And then we're back into the main foyer. Now another thing I'm keen to show you is student accommodation and just how close that is. So this is our front door. And the student accommodation is right there. So this is Teapot Hearn student accommodation that you can find online if you go look for that. You can see the name there. And across the road there, this is Loomis student accommodation, which is more kind of private. This one used to be owned by the university. I think it's semi-private now, Teapot Hearn. Loomis is more like a private venture. I think it's a little more swanky. You can find all that on the website. Also just around the corner there, maybe just out of shot, yeah, 200 yards further down, is another piece of student accommodation. So everything really on your doorstep. Students literally have to get out of bed, come down in a lift, cross the road, and they're in uni. Right, it's amazing. Another thing I want to show you as well is just how close to the centre of Cardiff we are. So again, lots of kind of chill out areas, work areas. We also have theatre courses here. Also in this part of the building, we have lots of music and sound courses. If I took you around all those rooms, recording studios, rehearsal studios. Here we have USW sign and the coolest shot you can get here. Up the spiral staircase is the classic. There you go. All right, so nice little landmark building that we're based in. And what I'm really keen to show you is out the back door, just how close we are to Cardiff. So here is a kind of a little incubator facility that some students have got involved with kind of like setting up your own little business, a little private venture for that. Also here we have some development work going on. This used to be quite a popular student bar called Goodahue. Lots of live music, little small independent student bar, and some restaurants. And it's been taken down recently, keeping the front because it's listed. But I think I'm right in saying the plans for that are student accommodation and perhaps like ground floor bars and stuff. So the other big piece of student accommodation we saw out of the window upstairs is that one. I forget the name of that one, but you'll see it if you have a look around on Google Maps. Absolutely huge. And here we are heading to the centre of Cardiff. And here we are in the centre of Cardiff. This is the main shopping high street called Queen Street in Cardiff. We have everything you need. Lots of pubs and bars around nearby. In fact, that building there is the one that we mentioned Clothcat Animation recently has been based in. So incredibly close to us in the university. I can just see the university peeking through down the bottom there. It takes about 2 minutes to get to it. Okay, so I hope that helps. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope that's given you a nice sense of the campus and a little insight to the city. And if you're thinking of applying to us, we'd be delighted to talk to you more about that.